Okay, welcome back to Mr. Morrow's algebra class. All right, today we're going to be talking about an introduction to equations. Equations are by far the most important part of math, period. Okay? You're going to be working with equations in algebra, geometry, algebra 2, trigonometry, math analysis, pre-calculus, calculus, and it keeps going on forever and forever. We today are just going to introduce equations. I promise you that we're going to have a full chapter on how to solve equations, the procedures for solving single and two-step equations in addition to multi-step equations. But for right now, we're just basically talking about the definitions, the makeup of what an equation is. And an equation is a mathematical sentence or expression that uses an equal sign. We talked about several expressions last few sections. For example, 4 more than a number. That's just 4 plus n, okay? That's an expression. But what did I tell you guys that is means when we were talking about word to number translations? Exactly. So if I said 4 more than a number is 9, now I included that is, that's an equals, now it's an equation. Now, you have what's called an open sentence. And basically an open sentence is an equation, okay, which contains one or more variables. And the equation may be true or false, depending on the values of the variables. All right? Now, determining whether an equation is true or false or open is important. In order for equations to be true, what has to happen? What has to happen? Yes, sir. That was perfect, but you complicated it a little bit too much. How about this, my man? Both sides have to be equal. Right? I'm very proud of you, though. Good job. Give me some 5. Good job. All right. So an open sentence, remember, an equation that contains one or more variables. It's a true statement, a true sentence, if both sides of the equation are equal. So then it's going to be false if both sides of the equation are not equal. So let me give you some examples. Okay, 24 plus 18 equals 22, 20 plus 22. Let's see if it's true, false, or open. 24 plus 18 is 42. 20 plus 22 is, so this is a, excuse me, true statement. Yes. 7 times 8 equals, does that equal 54? So this is a false statement. 2x minus 14 equals 54. Open. Very good. We cannot determine if it's true or false yet. Now, could you determine if it's true or false if I tell you x equals 3? How would you determine if that's true or false in this case? You replace or plug in the variable value into the variable. So that would be 2 times 3 minus 14. That's 6 minus 14. That equals negative 8, which does not equal 54. So in that case, if I give you a value, you can determine if it's true or false. Now, you said to replace or to plug in. What's a fancy word for plug in? Evaluate. Very good, gentlemen. Very, very good. How about for D? I got 3y plus 6 equals 5y minus 8. What is that going to be, my man? Open, of course, because we don't know what y is. We can't tell if it's true or false either at this point. 6 minus 7 is, 16 minus 7 is, I apologize, 9. And 4 plus 5 is 9. So that is true. And 32 divided by 8 is 4. And 2 times 3 is, so that is, does that make sense, my brothers? Awesome. All right, cool beans. Let's move on. Now, solutions of an equation. Okay. The solution of an equation, guys, is the value of the variable that makes the equation true. Period. It's the value of the variable that makes the equation true. It's the value of the variable that makes the equation true. If that value of the variable does not make the equation true, then it is not a solution. For example, identify solutions of an equation. Is x equals 6 a solution of the equation 32 equals 2 times x plus 12? Okay, someone said no, but we got to test it. So this is 32 equals 2 times parentheses 6, because that's what they told me x was going to equal, plus 12. This is 32 equals 12 plus 12, and then I got 32 equals 24. So is that a solution, gentlemen? No. Example 3. What if I tell you, gentlemen, that I say that m is 1/2, and I want to know, is that a solution to this equation? Well, we're going to go ahead and evaluate. We're going to go 6. Remember, the 6 has a 1 in the denominator. Times 1/2 minus 8 equals -5. What's 6 times 1/2? 3 minus 8. What does 3 minus 8 equal? Does -5 equal -5, gentlemen? So is m equals 1/2 a solution? Yes. Does that make sense, gentlemen? Okay, awesome. May I continue? Thank you. Okay, now the good stuff. Let's try to write an equation for this. And then we want to plug in all of these choices to find out which is the solution. So let's go ahead and read it. It says an art students, I apologize about that. That should not be an art students. That should be an art student. Sorry about that. An art student wants to make a model of the Mayan Great Ball Court in Chichen Itza, Mexico. The length of the court is 2.4 times its width. The length of the student's model is 54 inches. What should the width of the model be? Okay. I know that word problems are a bit elusive, if anything. By the way, does anyone know what elusive means? They're tricky, they're hidden, they're hard to find. Whenever I say a word that you guys don't understand, please feel free to just raise your hand and say, Mr. Moore, what does that mean? Because I'm not using those words to confuse you. I'm using those words to help you build a little bit of a better vocabulary. So please never be afraid to ask. So, let's get back to these elusive equations, all right? I'm not a master of anything, but I do know how to read very well. I'm relatively good at equations because I read. I don't think about something, no. I focus and I read and I follow the exact directions that the word problem has given me. Most of the time, the word problem spells itself out for you. And this is one of those. An art student wants to make a model of the Mayan Great Ball Court in Chichen Itza, Mexico. The length of the court is 2.4 times its width. That right there is an equation. Let's translate it. The length, which we will call L, remember always label, L equals length. The length of the court is, what does is mean? Equals 2.4 times, we represent times by parentheses, times its width, and we'll call width W. Notice, please, how I always label my variables. I have to label my variables. If not, what does L mean? Logs, left turns. What does W mean? Wide lane, water. Yeah, okay, watermelons. You have to describe and label your variables. If you don't, you will lose points on the quizzes and or tests. Now, I got two variables though. And let me do this in cursive. I got L and I got W. Do I know what L is? Read. Read. The length of the student's model is 54 inches. So what is length? So you evaluate. Sorry about that. That was the bell. And that's going to equal 2.4 times W, because we definitely do not know what W is. That's what we're looking for, correct? Does everyone understand how I got that equation? Okay, now. It says, what should the width of the model be? So we're trying to solve for W. Before we start plugging things in, because the proper way to do it is to evaluate and plug in W as 2.4, then as 11.25, then as 22.5, then as 129.6. Mr. Morrow's not here to make you suffer, though. I want you guys to use your head and to use estimates for your benefit. Let me explain how I use estimates. Roughly, 2.4 could roughly be about 2, correct? And this 2.4 is roughly about 2, correct? What's 2 times 2? Is that anywhere even close to 54? Okay, so this, bye-bye. What's 11 times 2? We're estimating. 22. Is that close at all to 54? Not really, guys. It's too far away. What's 2 times 22? Oh, 44. Is 44 kind of close to 54? It's not exactly right, but it's kind of right. It's pretty close. So this could be a possible contender. And then 129.6. What's 129 times 2? Go ahead and round this to 130 if it makes it easier. What's 130 times 2? 260, right? Is that even close to 54? So just by using your logic, you know the answer is C. But let's prove it. You know Mr. Moore likes to prove things, okay? Math is about proof, not about guessing. So times 2.4, skip a space. There's 2 decimals, 2 numbers behind the decimals, so to the left, 54, it does work. Boom, that's my answer. So, yes, sir. Absolutely not. Why would you multiply 54 times 2.4? 54 is already the length. That equals 2.4 times the width. And we're choosing width, W, sir. Do you understand? No. Okay, what did I say to you guys before? I'm not trying to be rude, but don't think. Do what you're told. Okay, guys? I'm not trying to be rude. Don't think. Try to just do what you're told. It said the length is 54 inches. The length is equals 2.4 times the width. These choices here were the possible widths. Logic dictates you're choosing for values of W. So no, there's no way on earth that you can multiply 54 times 2.4 to get this answer. It just doesn't tell you to do it. Does that make sense, son? Are you sure, my man? Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, now we're getting into actually how to find the exact answer. Yes, you would divide. But are we learning how to solve equations right now? No. Did I tell you that I gave you my word that we will be learning this in chapter 2? Okay, so we're not going to go over those procedures on how to solve right now. We're just figuring out how to determine if it is an equation, if it's open, true, or false, and if I give you possible choices to be able to evaluate the equation and see if it's a true or false solution. That makes sense, gentlemen? Okay. Any other questions on that? All right. Try it on your own now. Go for it. Let's try. The length of the ball court at La Venta is 14 times the height of its walls. Write an equation that you can use to find the height of a model that has the length of 49 centimeters. Okay, I'll make a deal with you. Give me the answer, and then I will. Give me the answer? Okay. Yes, sir. Yeah, what's up, my man? Give me the answer. Fantastic. Great start. Okay, he said that L is 14, what did you call it? N? Okay, you got it. Now, okay, H? Okay, instead. Now, this is all great. What are we missing, though? What does L mean? What does L mean? Length. What does H mean? Height, yes. How did he get this? Well, check it out. The length of the ball court at La Venta is, so length is 14 times the height, H. Perfect. Perfect. Now, what did they tell you the length was, though, my brother? So the real equation here is 49 equals 14H. Do not try to solve it. Don't worry about solving it, because it just said write an equation. Yes, sir.
So I was going to have to do, okay, if I just put L equals 14 and then in parentheses 49.
No. His question was, sorry about that. His question was, can I put L equals 14 times parentheses 49? Absolutely not. Because that's telling me that the height is 49. They didn't tell you the height is 49. They said the length was 49. Okay, guys, we're getting to the same issue. You need to read the whole entire question. You guys cannot skip out on math word problems, because one word could really mess you up. Okay, my man? Yes, sir.
Divide 49 by H.
Okay, no. You cannot divide 49 by H. To solve this, you would divide both sides by 14. But didn't I just finish saying that we're not going to go over procedures of solving equations? We're going to simply learn how to identify an equation, see if it's true, false, or open, and to see if a solution is truly the solution of an equation. But I am not going to make you solve these equations that are a little bit complicated with numbers and whatnot until I show you the procedures. Yes, sir. This would be an open equation. Yes, sir. This would be an open equation because of the variable. Excellent. Thank you, son. Okay? Does that make sense? Questions on this, gentlemen? Promise. Okay, next. Now, I know what I just finished saying, and you must be thinking, this man is crazy. He just said not to solve equations, and what is he making us do? Solve equations. But look at what I'm making you do. Use mental math. I still am not going to go against my word. I am not going to teach you the procedures of solving equations till we get there. But what we can start already envisioning is the mechanics behind the equations, okay? So mentally, we can solve all of these. This is really simple math. And this is how you do this mentally. What number plus 8 gives me 12? Boom, x equals 4. What number divided by 8 gives me 9? 72. Someone said 81. Please be careful. Please be careful. Got to learn how to multiply. 12 minus what number gives me 3? 9. Very good. Awesome. So, that's just about as difficult as it's going to get. This is just for you to start understanding the mechanics of equations. But we're not going to have complicated equations, I promise. I give you my word. We're going to have crazy equations, chapter 2. And then you're going to be wishing you were back here. But for right now, that's all we're going to need to do. Does that make sense so far, gentlemen? Okay. Example 7. Now we are, okay, why is this, there you go. Okay. Using the table that I have provided here for you, gentlemen, what is the solution of 5n plus 8 equals 48? In other words, I'm looking for the solution. So remember, what is the solution? The solution is the value of the variable which makes the equation true. So which value of n here, gentlemen, makes this equation true to equal 48? Yes, sir. Yes, when n is 8. You may think, why is he even asking us this? To start learning how to read tables. You have to realize that this table has a couple things to it. Over here, these are the values of n. These are the values of the variable that are either going to make this equation true or false. Once I choose a value, I plug it in, I evaluate it into the actual equation of 5n plus 8. See, when n is 5, I plugged in a 5. When n is 6, I plugged in a 6. When n is 7, I plugged in a 7. When n is 8, I plugged in an 8. Okay? Then the value, that's the calculated value of the equation with the given n. So for this particular case, when n is 5, the value is 33. When n is 6, the value is 38. When n is 7, the value is 43. When n is 8, the value is 48. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, now, let's go ahead and tweak it just a little bit, all right? In this case, please read. I'm not trying to be rude, but please read. It says, what is an estimate of the solution of negative 9x minus 5 equals 28? Yes, sir. Okay, let's think about what you just finished saying. He said it's the first one, negative 1. So you mean to tell me that when x is negative 1, and you plug it into the equation, it gives you a value of 4. 4 is equal to 28. So, with all due respect, guys, read. What is an estimate of the solution of negative 9x minus 5 equals 28? When x is negative 1, the value is 4. That's not 28. When x is negative 2, the value is 13. That's not 28. When x is negative 3, the value is 22. That's not 28. When x is negative 4, the value is 31. That's not 28. So what is the estimate of the solution? Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, I made a mistake. Now, how about we answer the question? What is the estimate of the solution? Yes, sir. No, it's not negative 4. We just went over that. When x is negative 4, it equals positive 31, not 28. Yes, sir. Okay, negative 3.5 he gave me. You're giving me an exact value, so we don't know that yet until we solve it. However, isn't the answer going to be somewhere between negative 3 and negative 4, guys? Doesn't 28 fall in between 22 and 31 somewhere in there? So the solution to this is x is between negative 3 and negative 4. Maybe it's 3.5, maybe it's 3.2, maybe it's 3.6, maybe it's negative 3.8. But it's somewhere between negative 3 and negative 4. Do you guys see how the estimate could not have been negative 4 because that's an exact answer? And that exact answer gives you 31, not 28. Does it make sense that it has to be a value between negative 3 and negative 4, my brothers? You promise? Yes, sir. Well, if they ever ask you for an estimate and they gave you graph values like this, you may have to estimate. It may have to be between two numbers. Yes, sir. Thank you for asking, son. You're welcome. Anything else, my brothers? Alrighty, perfect. Don't put anything away yet. We're going to do some practice now, but thank you very much. That's the lesson.